And Katter's ousted state leader Aidan McLindon joins me now. Mr McLindon, thanks for coming in tonight.
No worries.
Why did you lose in Beaudesert?
Look, I think what we saw was a tsunami heading towards, I would say, a vote that was against a Bligh ALP government rather than a pro-LNP movement. And what we saw there was something that has never been seen historically in Queensland or Australia for that matter. And I think it was almost impossible that once the LNP ran a very formidable campaign in terms of spending a lot of their resources trying to attach us to that a vote for any other party other than us will in fact get a Bligh Labor government back in. And they were successful at that. They spent a good portion of their $11 million towards attaching us with Bligh ALP, which of course stained us in terms of trying to make people were just so angry at the Bligh Labor government they wanted to get rid of them without any other distractions in the way. You
campaigned hard against coal seam gas development. Based on your loss, can we assume that actually people aren't as worried about that issue as you thought?
No, not at all. In fact, I would say that as a new party, 8 months young, in the seat of Beaudesert, two-party preferred to attain almost 42% of the vote on two-party preferred. I think, without talking myself up too much, I think a lot of that is attributed to Bob Katter, of course, as well. I think this is the beginning of huge things to come. This state election was just a battle, which is why I didn't concede defeat, because what's more important is the war that's ahead of us.
But is that coal seam gas issue, is that one that resonates in the community?
Absolutely. I think what we're seeing now is, in the seat of Condamine, we pulled more than 22% of the primary vote there. And I think as the mainstream gets more and more aware of the adverse impacts of coal seam gas, and once they get alerted to the fact that, the ALP and LNP have become two heads of the same creature and are in fact in favour of expanding this terrible industry, particularly in southeast Queensland and our aquifers, I think people are going to wake up to the fact that our future's at stake.
Katter's Australian Party went into the election with 2 MPs. It emerged with 2 MPs. Was there anything differently that you could have or should have done during the campaign to boost those numbers?
Oh, look, there's always hindsight's a beautiful thing, but at the end of the day, I think to attract 250,000 Queenslanders to a movement that's 8 months young is a sign of things to come. And I think, as Bob alluded to, if you look at anyone who judges the success of Katter's Australian Party on the number of seats in the Parliament is making a very big mistake, because under a compulsory preferential system, we'd be looking at 6 or 7 federal seats as it stands now.
What's your future with the party?
Look, I believe in the cause. As I said, I'd much rather win. I'd much rather lose as an Australian Party candidate than win as an LNP candidate. So obviously, I've got a bit of capacity there to be able to help structure the state side of things in the party. And of course, over the coming week, there'll be announcements made. But I would certainly like to roll my sleeves up and ensure that we continue the success of Katter's Australian Party. And if we can attract 250,000 votes, then I'm really looking forward to the next 18 months.
Are you looking for does that mean a behind-the-scenes sort of role, more in the executive or something, or would you like to look for another seat in another state? Or
no, certainly, no. Queensland. I was born in Darwin, but I came to Queensland to cool down. No, but I love Queensland, and I think it would be remiss of me to do anything that we've seen. The likes of Barnaby Joyce hop, skipping, and jumping in between New South Wales and Queensland. I mean, I'm certainly not from an opportunistic level, but a level where I can assist in the bigger picture and ensure that we can carry this machine forward.
Well, in terms of the bigger picture, Bob Katter says he's eyeing off New South Wales next. Does he have appeal outside of Queensland? Oh,
very much so. I mean, you've only got to look at Tasmania, for example, and there's 12 senators for a population of 500,000 people. Now, if you look at, Bob Katter's greeted at airports, at towns, right across Australia. And I think people are actually looking for that leadership and someone who can just say it as it is. Now, love him or hate him, he's a force to be reckoned with that can only continue to grow and grow. And we've seen the ideology and the social and economic positions of both the ALP and LNP are almost identical. And what we've seen now is, and as Anthony Chisholm said, it's policy. Most of the campaign, the millions and millions of dollars in the war chest of both the ALP and LNP was attacking both sides rather than policy. It was a personality contest.
Aidan McLindon, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.